Alright guys, once again we are back at it again. Don't mind the dirty garage. Got stuff everywhere. It's like 80 degrees outside, so figured why not get everything up to speed, and on top of that, I'm going to be jumping into the lawnmower. So a lot of the people on this channel, we're growing up, so we got the maintenance kit for the lawnmower here. So if any of you guys that have one of those Troy-Bilt Broncos with the Kohler Courage engines in them, this will end up helping you guys out. Here's the kit. The kit is going to include you got the plug, air filter, the foam air filter, so basically the primary that filters out the big stuff, and then the secondary that filters out the smaller particles. You have your new oil filter, spark plug, you got your 2 quarts of oil, and you have your fuel filter. Let's go ahead and jump into it quick, and we'll start with the air filter first. Alright guys, so as you can see, we have the Troy-Bilt here. We got the Bronco. This is going to be a 42-inch deck. It should work for any of them really that have this. We're going to go ahead and pop this on open quick, and then jump into the air filter tab. So with these, you have these 2 little wing nuts. You're going to turn them counterclockwise to take this panel off. You just basically take them all the way off, and then you should be able to pull this cover off. I'm going to loosen this up quick so we can get to the filters. Okay, so once you have the bottom and top wing nuts loosened all the way, it should be able to just fall right off. Which is going to have the foam filter on the inside of this housing, and then you're going to have this actual paper filter on the inside. So with this kit comes with a different style, so you actually have like an actual like foam in here, and then it's going to be like more of like a see-through foam filter that's going to replace this. Obviously the point is going to go up like so. So take this bad boy out quick, and it's a simple, you literally just grab it, pull it straight out. There you go, there's the old one. Take your new one, you can wipe it out if you need to. Mine's fairly clean, got a little grass clippings on the ends. Go ahead and basically just stuff this one in there. Make sure it's nice and flat. Make sure it's nice and flat in there. Next, you're going to go to the paper filter. Now this is going to, hopefully this helps some people. If you can look, the old style paper filter actually has this top basically handle on it. The new filter design does not have that, just so you guys know. So let me flip it up for you guys. The new paper filter, the new design on this, or new revision, if you will, basically deletes this piece out. So if you get this kit and it doesn't have that little winglet, don't worry, it's just a revision from Kohler. This is the new part number, this is an old part number. This is, I guess we could say this is at least 2025 spec. I don't know when they actually changed the spec on these and the parts, but it is the same part. They just deleted that top piece out. So I'm going to go ahead, put this in. You're going to want the Kohler badging to go out like this. And when you're pressing this on, it has like basically like a little slit where it can actually grab around the plastic piece. You're going to want to make sure you can get it actually to seat all the way on it, so it's actually a seal. So once you put this box back on it, it actually presses on it and then seals off this bottom portion. I already replaced the foam, which obviously you can see it's a revised piece. This one's like a loose foam, that one's more of like a dense foam. Just, once again, you guys, it's just a new updated version. I'm going to put this cover back on by just basically putting it back in place. Once you hold it there, push down a little bit, and then slowly turn these clockwise to start threading them on. I'm going to thread these on, and then we'll jump into the next one. Alright, so now we got that done. Let's go ahead and jump into, we will change out the spark plug. I did buy this last year. The guy said everything was done maintenance-wise on it, but it's one of those things where I'd rather just do it this way and just know for sure. If you want to know the actual Kohler part number for these Courage motors, it's going to be, the plug itself is a 25 132 23. Let me go ahead and get the socket for the cover, the air cover, and then I'll need the socket for the spark plug as well. 1 second. Alright, so we're back in here, guys. So the tools you're going to need, I'm just grabbing the little baby one, little 1/4 inch grab the 3/8 inch. The plastic cover is going to take a 5/16 socket to take off the 4 cover bolts, and then you're going to need a 5/8 for the plug. This is going to come in handy for the oil filter wrench. I'm probably not going to do the fuel filter yet because it's just going to make a mess. I'll do that later, but I can give you guys a quick rundown on how to swap those out as well. Let's go back to the lawnmower. Alright, so I got a pretty hefty extension here. Obviously you can see it's pretty big. You're going to need to take this cover off. This thing stays stationary. This stays in place. It's not going to pull this off. It's only going to pull this plastic cover off. There's 4 screws that you're going to need to access. You're going to need to access this one right here, this little guy right here, this little guy back here, and this one right here. I'm going to pop these 4 off, and then I'm going to pop this cover off. Alright, so we got our 4 screws off with the 5/16 socket. Like I said, it's going to be this screw, this screw, this screw, and the one tucked back here in this channel. All you have to do then is just pull up on it a little bit. Sorry, release this. You're going to have to pull the dipstick out. Go ahead and put that down for a second. You're going to have to, and then once you have the dipstick cover off, go ahead and pull the cover itself just straight up. Then you're going to see, obviously, the cooling fan, ignition coil. You're going to see your starter. You're going to want to get down here to the plug and the actual spark plug wire itself. So I'm going to pop this off. All you got to do, if it's tight, just wiggle it a little bit and then pull straight back on it. Try not to use the wire. Don't pull on the wire. Pull on the boot itself. Alright, so it looks like the previous owner put one of those E-series plugs in it. I'm going to pull this plug off using the 5/8 socket and a slight extension. You can pull this whole panel off, but there's kind of no point. You can just get in here and just take it off quick. It shouldn't be in there that tight anyways. Okay, so realistically you can do it without an extension. Like you can see I'm doing it right now. Obviously I have a spark plug socket on. These don't really get tightened down all that far. Basically just a little bit over snug. It's really not that bad. I'm going to go ahead and take this plug out, and I'm going to show you the old plug versus new. Alright, so we're going to get down into the plug. So this is the E3 series plug that I pulled out of it. You can see it's pretty carboned up. It's got one of those weird like hooks in the top. Normal E3 stuff. Spark plug gap is super closed. This is going to be the new one from Kohler. I did check the gapping on this. This will be good. They come pre-gapped, so from Kohler for a Kohler motor, I'm gonna go ahead and trust their gapping on it. Normally you should check gap size, but it looks pretty good, and obviously it's a clean plug anyways. I'm gonna go ahead and thread this in a little over hand tight. I want to say the torque specs on it I think are 20 foot-pounds, I believe. So if anybody's gonna actually use a torque wrench on it, 20 foot-pounds I believe is what this actually is. We'll jump into that then next. Alright, as you can see, we got the new Kohler plug in. All you're gonna have to do is take this boot, make sure the inside's looking decent still, and then go ahead and then plug it back up. Just basically push it on, and you should hear it click into place. Alright, so now that's on. I'll go ahead and move this wire so it's not sitting directly on the cylinder head. We're gonna put this cover back on, and we'll put the 4 bolts in and tighten it up. Alright, so we got the cover back on, the 4 bolts back on. Like I said, I just threw them on by about hand tight because it is plastic. I don't want to end up cracking these little wings or the edges on them. The dipstick you can keep out and keep off to the side if you want. Just make sure nothing falls inside the oil fill hole because you're going to be wiping that stick off anyways. We are going to jump in to replacing let's drain the oil first, and then we'll replace the oil filter next. If you need the OEM filter number, it's going to be a 1205001, and with these you want to fill the filter up to the threads, right to the beginning of the threads, and let it sit for 2 minutes so the paper can absorb some of that oil before you start. You don't want to just dry it up. Stick it in there dry. Let me get everything for the drain and we'll jump back into it. Alright, for this setup, all I'm going to be using is basically an old tube I have, or an old hose. I don't need this for anything, so I'm going to use this as a guide to drain the oil. And then obviously a container. This is an old container I had for one of the oil changes I did. I think it's actually from the BMW. With the oil change, if you have one of these quick releases, all you gotta do is pop this seal cap off, and then if you notice there's a pin back here, all you gotta do is twist it to the left or counterclockwise, and it'll release it to the first phase, and then you pop it straight out, and it will start jumping water or jumping oil, just leaking it out. This is semi-warm. Like I said, it's like 80 degrees out here. It's a little bit better if you do it after the motor's ran, so the oil is thinner. But that's going to be how you're going to do this. Some of these kits do come with a clear hose that you basically just pop on there, and it like runs into like a 1 quart container or 2, or I'm going to use a 5 quart because it should hold about 1.6 quarts of oil, not including what's in here. But I'm going to go ahead, get this in there, pop this loose, and start draining the oil. As a little bit added space, I did go ahead and drop the deck down to the ground, basically to position 1, so it's as far down as it can go. That way I have space in here to run the hose and the container. I'm going to get this all set up, and then I'm going to twist it quick, and I will show you guys the motion of draining the oil on the quick release. Alright, as you guys can see, I did move it over to the middle position, so it is ready for a quick release. All you gotta do then, once it's on the quick release, is pull it straight out, and it'll start draining the oil. I'm gonna let it drain all the way out, and then I will close it, and we will jump into the oil filter next. So this is basically what I ended up opting out with, just having the 5 quart container just wedged in between the deck and the front tire. As you can see, it's still leaking. It's a slow process. If you wanted to make it better, you could also like tilt the mower to the driver's side, so it would help speed it up a little bit. Or like I said, if it was hotter, it would probably come out a little bit faster, but I think it recommended like a 4 or 5 minute drain anyways. So we're gonna go ahead and continue letting this drain, and we will get right back into sealing that back up and the filter then. Alright, now that it's done draining and it's just down on this like seeping phase, I'm gonna go ahead and seal it back up and then put the cap on it. To seal it back up, all you really have to do is basically push it back in and then twist it clockwise to lock it back in its lock position. Okay, so now that we got this sealed back up, you see how there's the keyway there, it's a giant L. You basically push it back in and twist it, and it will be locked in. Clean up any excess oil that does spill, just use the microfiber. You can use some brake cleaner on it too and wipe it clean. And then reinsert the cap back in place. Now with the oil filter, I'm going to take the new one, just so you know. Yes, the new one is yellow, and it says Kohler Pro Performance Oil Filter. It's slightly bigger. It's a slightly bigger filter. So I'm assuming it's another revised piece. Like I said, you're going to fill this up with oil up to the threads, and then let it sit for 2 minutes. So I'm going to fill this up first, and then I'm going to take this one off. Kohler provides 2 quarts of oil, so I'm going to pop the cap off this, fill this up to the thread holes, and let this sit while we mess with this. Let me do this quick, and then we will jump back into it. As you can see, I filled it back up. I will go ahead, I'll even use the plastic cover that it comes with to seal it up so nothing can get in there in the meantime. Now we'll jump into this. Sometimes you can do it by hand if it's too tight and you do not have one. These come in handy. A oil filter pliers. Basically just grab down where the hexagon shape is, grab a hold of it, and twist it. You're going to want to twist it counterclockwise. I'm going to go ahead and break this loose, and I will show you a little trick with this Walmart baggie here. 1 second. Alright, so as you can see, this filter is way too tight on there, first of all. I did crack it loose, but with these filters, all you really have to do is tighten about 1 turn fully after that gasket base seats against the housing itself. I'm going to go ahead and crack this off. The easiest way to do this is if you have a bag, an old junk bag with some old junk rags in it, wrap the bag around the back of the filter, and it'll catch all the oil that will slide past the seal. Just try to make sure it's steady coming down, because there will be oil in this filter. I'm going to pop this off and then show you the mating surface. Alright, as you can see, I have the oil filter off, and I cleaned the housing free. Now watch off the back half, because there was some dirt and stuff built up there. Make sure this contact point is clean. You might have to catch oil every now and then coming out of the main port here. You can see that there is a secondary hole right here, which is the return. But basically, you're going to want to make sure this whole contact area is clean. With the new filter, when you go to put it on, you're going to want to make sure you take some oil and rub it around the ring, basically to help make a better seal when you actually lock it onto that base. I'm going to go ahead and put this on a while. Well, I might be able to do this with you guys here. Go ahead and put it on. You can see I have the oil already in there. You're going to put it up on, and then you're going to want to turn it clockwise. And then once, like I said, once that seal seats, you're only going to go about 3/4 of a turn to a full turn around, and that's it. If you want to be a little bit extra, you can spin it a little bit more. Don't go too hard on this, because like I said, it will be a pain to get this thing back off. I'm going to go ahead and clean all this stuff up, and we can do a quick rundown on how to change the fuel filter after I fill it back up with 1.6 quarts of oil. Alright, so I just popped open the cap on the second quart that Kohler gave us, which is just 10W30 oil. And if you have a funnel, this will help greatly. I'm going to dump the first quart in, and then we're going to go for the second 0.6 quarts out of the one that pre-filled the oil filter. Alright, so the first quart's in, and if you look at the back of the bottle, we still have 800 milliliters left after the filter pre-fill. I'm going to take it down to about 500. And then go from there. Sorry about the wind, guys, it's getting windy again. Okay, so I took it from 800 to 300. I realized I needed about 5.5 to 200 milliliters. Gonna go ahead and clean off the oil dipstick. After you do that, place it back in, give it a second, then you're gonna want to pull this thing out and check the hashtags on it. So it's showing a little over full right now, so when you go to start this thing will be good to go. If it is a little bit low on the hashtag marks, add a little bit as needed. Every engine is different depending on how much oil came out and how much oil you actually put into it. We can touch base quick on how to replace the fuel filter. All you gotta do is basically pinch off one of the fuel lines. I would just basically pinch them off quick with maybe a vice grip. Just be gentle not to scratch the hosing, and then use the needle nose pliers to move the clamps back, and then pop one end off, pop the other end off, and then you're good to take the filter out. Just watch out, it will start leaking gas if these hoses aren't binded up. But that's gonna end up doing it for this video so far. Hopefully this could help. I would keep going, but I'm already at 18 minutes, so I feel like that's a pretty long video, even though we did touch base on a lot of stuff for this. This is all going to be using the Kohler Courage 15 to 21 horsepower engine kit. This is going to be the part number for it right here, 278901-S. I picked this up at Tractor Supply Co. for 70 bucks, or 69 something. It came out to 74 after tax. But this comes with everything you're going to need: filters, oil filter, fuel filter, oil, and then everything else you're going to need. Like I said, I'll end up doing the fuel filter later, which is a 75 micron filter. It's nice that they list that, because most places don't. But yeah, if you have any questions, hopefully this could help. And then after all this is said and done, you basically just go through and just do cleanup. Alright? Thanks for watching, guys. And like always, if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I'll do more videos on the lawnmower or the car content, which is what I normally do. But like I said, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully the lawnmower videos could help a little bit. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.